do we want to start off drinking? We've got, so for anybody just tuning into this episode, you probably read the title, which I assume we'll put on somewhere on the title. We're doing a special special episode of little Q&A. For those that don't know, that stands for questions and answers.
Wow.
And we put up on social media, I think about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, once this releases, asking for some questions from our listeners, people that tune into the podcast or at least follow us on social media.
Yeah.
Got some questions. We got some serious ones. We got some really good ones. Yeah. We also got some not so serious ones.
What?
We got a handful though. I don't think we're going to be able to get through all of them.
Starting off, my mother-in-law replied to me posting that story and saying, "What does Thomas want for Christmas?" So we're going through my Christmas list first. So to start, just kidding.
Do we want to start drinking before we answer these?
Yes.
Yep. Some of my first questions, I think, require a drink. So
yeah, so anybody, I think we've talked about this on the podcast. Anybody who doesn't know, Laurel, love of my life, and I have a cuckoo for Cocoa Puff neighbors. They are crazy, big crazy, and they have been screaming a lot in the middle of the night, and not happy screams.
I feel like I can post my story, pour a drink. This is a good story, or a good
So yeah. They sleep during the day, and they scream during the night. I think that's all they do. I don't know. They can't work because all they do is sleep and scream. But yeah, they've woke us up the last couple of nights. And we've got our friend Sophia is staying with us right now. She comes in one of Laurel's bridesmaids. Wonderful. We call her our daughter. She comes and stays with mom and dad whenever she's in Oklahoma City, and because we have a guest bedroom, and she's heard the neighbors, heard them, but she's never heard like full torque neighbors. And so she heard full torque neighbor for the first time, and she was like, that was actually kind of scary. I was like, yeah, you get used to it, you know. We've had it for over a year now. Ooh, chocolate de cork. That smells nice. I will, you know what? Just because I've already got my phone out here, I'll play a little neighbor. Let's see if you can hear this. I'm sure you can over this. That's pretty common.
That's fun.
Yeah. So
that sounds haunted.
Oh, yeah. Possessed, some would say. Yeah. I've probably got like 60 of those on my phone. So if anybody, you know, knows how to make a Molotov cocktail, let me know.
I think they're pretty simple.
Yeah. It's just funny to say.
Yeah, sorry, I'm ruining you.
But yeah, come on, Kevin. Everybody knows how to make a Molotov cocktail. Give me that ball of small batch Willett family estate. I'll make one out of that. But yeah, they're crazy. And that wasn't from last night. That was from a number of weeks ago. But they woke us up 2 nights ago, twice. They woke us up last night like 3 times. I sleep with the earplugs and they still woke me up. So it was bad because sometimes it'll like.
Maybe I should do that with Riley.
Good idea.
Because you waking me up. So
yeah, payback.
Yeah,
that's right. I like it. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes the demons get the best of us sometimes. And during the day when we know they're sleeping, I'll be like, Alexa, play Big X the Thug, the Plug on full blast everywhere. And she'll be like, playing Big X the Plug and similar artists from Spotify on the Everywhere Playgroup on full blast because fuck your neighbors. But yeah, so Sophia heard that for the first, like a pretty good full torque crazy neighbor situation.
You told the story of you finding them on YouTube on the.
I don't know if I told that on the podcast. Did I?
Did you tell that? Didn't you tell it to Chandler D?
Probably. Yeah. Sometimes you got to fight crazy with crazy.
Yeah.
And I get a little loco.
I can't remember if you told that before or after we ended that episode or not. But
So,
maybe go.
so I maybe came across a YouTube video of said cuckoo lady singing her like own song on YouTube, and I maybe put it on repeat over the Alexa loud enough to go through the walls, and then left and went to work. So, you know,
I think
that's like hearing your own voice coming through the walls for 8 hours.
Obviously, yeah, it's they've been. So it doesn't sound like they've been super nice to you, but I believe a wise man once said, a specific wise man once said that this applies to is in reference to Thomas. Don't be a bitch.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
That's a Vincent Mays quote.
That is.
Yep.
Potentially my favorite.
Yeah. That's a whole story in itself. Maybe for another time. Maybe another time that we're that it's just you and me.
Yeah.
All right. I've never tried this. This is Willet. The Willet Rye. It's not it's small batch. It's not like a specific, it's not like a barrel or anything. So I think they do like some specific barrels, and we'll name them and whatnot, and those get really popular. So this one I think has some mixed reviews. I've never tried it, but
I love the Willet bottles. I think they just look
too.
Nice. I like any wine bottle-y looking bottle.
Yeah.
It smells nice.
Kind of like almost like to me, like a floral kind of finish, which is interesting for a rye. I guess I don't know if that's spot on or not, but like kind of like a lighter finish than I expected.
What's the alcohol? Whiskey. I knew it.
107.
Okay. You can smell it. It smells hot.
Mm-hmm.
It's calming down. We're letting it breathe a bit.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I'm down with it.
I'd drink it.
Same. Do we want to get into these questions?
I do. I think that's the thing we got. I didn't even honestly have much of a chance to read through all of these, but we also, Laurel just recently, we should buy a new vehicle for sweet little Laura Beth. Yeah. And fun fact, that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
It's not a fun time. I don't like it.
Don't like buying a new vehicle?
No. There's just too many games.
Sounds like Harvey Dent's got some more years in him then.
No, Harvey Dent is R.I.P. Harvey Dent is done.
Right, because you took her old vehicle, right?
Yeah. So I'm going from one totaled hail damage vehicle to another totaled hail damage vehicle. But we'll take it. It's got 100,000 miles on it, and it's got a heated steering wheel.
Ooh.
Tell you what, man, hers is a lot nicer too. Like it's really just like the roof. It's a Jeep Cherokee, and it's just like the roof that really got it the worst. And then I was like, we can get the roof like fixed. And I'm like, or we could put a roof rack on it, and it'll look cool, and it'll cover it up. It'd be cheaper. It cost me $400 to put a roof rack on it.
Yeah.
Better than $6,000 to fix the roof or whatever the hell they want.
Is that really?
Dude, yeah, it's like, I think it had like $7,000 in hail damage.
That's crazy.
But it's like, whatever. Give us a little something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Harvey Dent is going probably to the salvage yard.
R.I.P.
I know. Turns out they didn't want him on a trade-in. So the salvage title and... You know, over 200,000 miles. And
they looked at it through the window. And they were like, nah.
It was really funny because I was like, I was trying to not pressure Laurel into getting, I wanted to make sure she got something she wanted, all that kind of stuff. And we really, like, she got a Toyota Grand Highlander. It's beautiful. It's awesome. I've already gotten to drive it plenty, which has been cool. These cars these days, dude, they got magic and spells in them or something, because you put it in reverse and it gives you an overhead view of your car in all of your surroundings. And I'm like, what?
How?
Yes, this coming from a satellite? What's happening right now? And I think it works because there's literally cameras all the way around the car. I think it just like has an algorithm or something where it just like brings all those together. But it's really great for parking because like you literally can see, like
it's like parking in a video game.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, there's you can see everything. Like it's literally just your entire surroundings. But it's nuts. It's got all sorts of cool features on it. It's got heated. It can toast your buns. It can freeze your buns. You can do whatever you want to your buns in there.
You want to your buns.
Your buns it's free game. But it's awesome. But I didn't want to pressure her because the deal that we've had was like, you know, she's gonna get something she likes, whatever. I don't care. I don't give a two shits what I drive. Like until I have enough money to buy something I want, the shittier the better, honestly, because
save the money.
Yeah, park too close to me. See what happens. I don't give a shit. Like hit my. You think I care? But we. That's been the deal. It's like, yeah, I'll just take her car because again, her car's got like 120,000 miles on it. Like whatever. Harvey Dent's got, which is my Ford Taurus. It's got well over 200,000 miles.
That's crazy.
Yeah, she. Hey, man, it's a great car.
Dude, the Suburban's getting a lot of miles on it.
Oh, yeah. I watch the Suburban get how many miles because I drive the Suburban every week and I'll be like, I remember when it like eclipsed 100,000 miles. And then I'm like, that wasn't that long ago. And we're like,
dude, I'm having to get oil changes like crazy, dude. Like I'll be like, all right, I just got one last month and I'll look and I'll be like, I'm 2,000 miles overdue. And it's been like not even 2 months.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But they,
all the mechanics are mad at me now.
Do that.
I'm underselling how over I was.
Man, I think they undersell. I think they're trying to tell you need them sooner than you do.
I heard you don't even need them.
That's what I've heard. The thicker, the better. The closer to chocolate pudding your oil is, the better your engine runs. Everyone knows that. But anyway, I had to finally like come clean after Laurel finally bought a car. We were hanging out with James and Rachel. James was in town this last weekend, and we were like talking about, you know, like how I was going to take over the Cherokee and stuff. And I was like, yeah, probably a good time. My power steering hasn't worked for like 2 months.
Oh, jeez.
And Laurel's like, oh, really? And I'm like, well, like it works, but like it you know, it doesn't.
That's why you're looking so jacked recently.
So there's definitely a leak in my power steering somewhere, and like it's got 200 and something thousand miles on it. I'm putting in, oh, this is power steering leak stop. Put that in, and it's, you know, it's just thick power steering fluid essentially. And I've done that enough where I think I'm more like stop leak than it is like power steering fluid at this point. And then now that it's cold out and that it's thick, it like thickens even more. It's like, but once I get going, it's pretty much fine. But I didn't want to be like, hey babe, like pick a car because like I'm fighting mine.
Dude, I feel like you're just at this point where you've kind of accepted like driving a hilariously like crappy vehicle, because when you and I met, you were driving with the Toyota like Corolla. No,
it was my Nissan Maxima.
That's what it was.
That Nissan she screamed like a wildebeest. So in my defense, it was the belt tensioner was broken, and it was like $70 for a new one.
And then
and so, you know, it just anytime I started. And then the
what's the real issue?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then my favorite was the volume knob had a short in it or something, and sometimes it didn't matter which direction you turned it would turn it up. So you had to just like keep trying to turn it down and hope that it would finally, but there would be plenty of times where it'd be like, turn this down a little bit, and it just louder. It'd be like stuck on full blast for like 3 weeks. All right.
That is, I think you tried to, or you bought that Volkswagen when you were working at the hospital and you were making pretty good money.
Yeah, because we had Durango Doug.
Durango Doug was nice.
He was.
And then you bought that Volkswagen, which was really cool.
Loved the Volkswagen.
But you didn't have that very long.
1 month.
And then you ended up having, because like that was in for repairs a bunch.
Yeah.
And then you finally got.
I finally got it good. So it's like I had to fight the dealership a whole bunch on them like helping, because essentially there was like a mess up in the rear main seal of it. And if you don't know anything about cars, not that I know a ton, but it's like you got to like fix it. You got to like drop the fucking transmission and like do all this stuff. And they told me we had an agreement that they would get the check engine light fixed, and then that ended up being it. So we went back and forth for a while.
Yeah, they don't want to fix that.
Yeah, they didn't want to, and I was like, no, you guys,
that's a risky thing to agree to.
You guys are gonna like fix this. And it turned into a bloodbath. At one point they were like holding the car hostage. They like didn't want to give me the car back because they wanted me to pay like half of it and whatever, and they said that I agreed to pay half of it, and then I'm like, I never agreed to pay half of it. And then he's like, well, where's the paperwork that said that we were gonna fix it and blah blah blah? And I'm like, do you guys have it? I guess I don't know. And he's like, well, you don't have paperwork, then you don't have anything. And I'm like, where's the fucking paperwork that said I was gonna pay for half of this?
Yeah.
And then he finally was just like threw me the keys and told me to get the fuck out.
Jeez,
but they had fixed it, so I got it fixed. And it was nice too, because there were some other things that like needed to be done on it. And I had like been talking to the dealership where they were fixing it for the remain seal, and I was like, hey, you guys are already like dropping it and working on some of this stuff, you know, can you work on this stuff too? And you know, like charge me way less labor because you're already getting paid labor by them. And they were like, yeah, we don't care, sure, we'll do it. And so they honestly got it really nice, and then I got it back. I had it for like 2 weeks, and I got rear-ended and totaled it.
Oh, that's right. I'm like trying to remember, because like I'm like, you got it fixed. I'm like, why did you ended up because you ended up getting the Taurus?
Yeah, because I got rear-ended.
Yeah.
I was going to Buffalo Wild Wings, just wanted me some wingdings, dude. And I went over this hill, and there was like car, and I was like, oh shit. And I kind of had to slam on my brakes a little bit. And I was like, dang, that's crazy. Bang! I got rear-ended. Yeah.
Going through all of that and then rear-ended. And then you got the Taurus, and then that got totaled and hail damage like not long after that.
Yeah,
right?
like a year after I had the Taurus. Honestly, you know, the Volkswagen had so many issues that like it probably was a blessing in disguise that thing got totaled. I probably would have been dumping money into that thing for a while. I got into a point where I was like, I think it might be good to go. And I'm like, we'll see. That thing was awesome though. I loved that car. That car was
a really cool car.
So much fun to drive.
Yeah.
And I also drove that thing like a jerk. Like that thing was fast. And I'd be like, you know, and I'd be like zipping through the highway. And I'm like, I'm going to die in this thing.
You didn't even have to say zipping through the highway. We knew what you were doing with just by singing.
But I literally, I think I play that song sometimes. But yeah, that was probably a blessing that thing got totaled. Yeah. But yeah, and then I got Harvey Dent prior to him becoming Two-Face from the hail damage.
Yeah.
But I kept, dude, again, I will stand by this. I ended up getting like, they gave me more money in the totaling of that than I paid for Harvey. So I like got that, paid off the rest of my like loan, bought the car back, paid my deductible, everything, and still put like $4,000 in the bank of just like, and again, I stand by this. If somebody would have walked into Triad when Harvey was, you know, unscarred and said, Thomas, I will pay off your car loan. I will drop your insurance in half because you won't be able to have full coverage anymore. I will drop your insurance in half. I will put $4,000 in your bank, but I'm going to take this baseball bat and I'm going to beat the shit out of your car for the next 15 minutes. I'd have been like, you said $4,000 and you're going to pay off my car loan and my insurance is going to go down. Yes, you can do it.
Dude, you got some serious hail damage too. And I would like to just take a second to really appreciate the name Harvey Dent, because it was dented because of the hail damage, but very much so all on one side.
Yeah. So it's like all the way, even in the front, like all the way down the hood, everything. It is all just the driver's side that's like messed up, and the passenger side is like perfect.
You look at it from one side.
Yeah, like if I'm driving down the
Perfectly
road and you
car.
see me on one side, you're like, ooh, nice car. You know, you see from the other side. So Harvey Dent, which anybody who doesn't know, Harvey Dent is the name of Two-Face in Batman, who has like half his face acided. Is
That's the correct term.
Yeah, acided,
Yep.
I believe is what they say. Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
And so I thought it was very clever.
That was great. We got some questions.
Oh yeah. What are we doing?
You know what? We can ramble for a little bit. How was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was good. I was a little sicky last week. I was just saying that. I was a little sicky last week, but doing good now. I'm doing well. Was healed up by Thanksgiving, thank goodness. But very good.
That.
We had we went to her parents' house. It's a smaller one this year, which was fine.
That's
we had a
nice.
good time. Yeah. We her mom, since there was less of us, and I'm glad she did this because it was so good. It's just personally my like favorite. She was like, I'm not going to cook a whole turkey. There's not enough of us. There's only going to be like, I think by the end of the night, there was like 6 of us there, 6 or 7. And so her mom's like, I just went to Ray's Barbecue and got a smoked ham and a smoked turkey breast. And I love like barbecue smoked turkey breast. That's like one of the most underrated foods out there. Regular baked turkey, roasted turkey is just not really my thing. It's not my favorite. Like you can only do so much to it, I think, and it'd be like something I really enjoy. Like fried turkey's good, but fried anything's good. But like smoked turkey breast is like one of the tops for me. I really like that. And so I was pretty stoked about that.
My mom cooks turkey in a bag. I don't know how common that is. I'm not the one cooking
You're
turkey.
not a turkeyist?
Not specifically.
Yep.
I eat a lot of turkey, and but mine is ground turkey in a crock pot. So yeah, it's nobody wanted to do that for Thanksgiving. I don't know
That's
why.
odd.
But, yeah, taco seasoning. Like
What is the problem?
yeah, exactly.
Little peppers?
But yeah, she cooked it. Yeah, some bell peppers. Yeah, she cooked it in a bag. I think that's what she usually does. It was pretty soft. I don't know if it was smoked turkey. Like it wasn't like maybe not like that crazy good, but yeah, pretty tender, pretty solid.
Nice.
I almost fucking ruined that though.
Nice.
My mom, there was a miscommunication where I was making some of my own meals because we were back home in St. Louis for like a week and a half, and I was cooking some of my own meals, some of my turkey in the crock pot, and my mom was like, "Oh, do you want a crock pot bag?" And I was like, "Well, like if you have it, cool, but like we don't usually use crock pot bags." And then she went and looked. She's like, "Yeah, you know what? That's funny. I don't think I actually have any." I was like, "Okay." So. But then, you know, I'm in the middle of cooking. I see her grab a box. She said something and set it on the counter, and I was like, "Oh, that looks like crockpot bag." So I go to the box and grab. It's like that's a crockpot bag. Throw it in the crockpot. Throw my turkey in. Set it overnight. Next morning, turkey's done, and. I leave to go to the gym. I come back like late morning, and my mom's looking at me, and she's like stressed at this point. I'm on my way back from the gym, and I'm like, I think today's going to be a good day. Learn my lesson there.
Yep.
Don't assume.
Yep.
Come back into the kitchen, and my mom's like, Kevin, do you by chance know what happened to little box that had a turkey bag in it on the counter? And I'm like, you mean that crock pot bag you gave me? And she's like, that was the bag for the turkey. And I'm like, fuck, like you literally just mentioned.
Yeah. Like the sequence of events. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I'm like, I didn't even look at the box. That's on me.
Sure.
But
I agree.
we were able to use it. My turkey was done, so I scooped my turkey out, and washed the bag off. It had some turkey fat left on it, but it had no holes or anything, so it worked. And I think that that leftover turkey fat may have been the secret ingredient to the turkey.
Did you put was there taco seasoning in there too?
No, there was not. So yeah, I mean,
that's probably a blessing.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. Otherwise, you guys had
little fiesta turkey for Thanksgiving.
Had gracias giving. It's a good one.
I'm jumping right in these questions.
Yeah, the episode just started 4 seconds ago.
This'll lead in. This'll lead in well. Question number 1. This one comes. No, I'll tell you afterwards. You might be able to guess. Mm-hmm. Why does Thomas hate baked mac and cheese?
All right, Sadie. I don't hate baked mac and cheese. I'm just a stovetop mac and cheese guy. I just like. I think here's my thing. Baked
lost potential.
What do you mean?
Like, if you're going to have mac and cheese, why would you bake it?
Right.
Why, if you could?
Because here's the thing for me. First and foremost, I think this is where I fall on the other side of the aisle compared to most people, and I can fully accept that. The breadcrumb top does nothing for me. It doesn't elevate the mac and cheese at all. And so I think at that point, like, if that's not something that I value in my mac, then it's like, okay, like, I can, once I'm there, then baked mac and cheese is just less creamy than regular mac and cheese, than stovetop mac. Yeah. Right? Because like it gets a little cooked a little more, can dry. I'm not saying it's dry. I've had very good like baked mac and cheese, don't get me wrong. Sadie's included. Probably the best I've ever had. Phenomenal. Right. But that topping just does nothing for me. And what you have to do to achieve the crust you want, I think lowers the bar on the mac. Where it's like I want it to be like, I want a cheese sauce. I want that kind of thing. Like for our Thanksgiving this year, I made a big old pot of homemade, like did the whole thing, like started with the roux, made the cheese sauce, like, grew the noodles, like did all of it. Right. And that I thought turned out really good. I thought the mac and cheese from Thanksgiving was really good. Because but again, it's tough. I feel like when the topping just doesn't do anything for me, I think it honestly kind of distracts from what I want, and that is like gooey, creamy mac and cheese. Again, I'm sure there is like the crust has been crustied and like the mac and cheese has not sacrificed itself for that. I know that has to exist, but I feel like the margin of error of like
not worth it.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
More times than not that I've experienced it, it's like crusty top and dry mac, and I'm like, if we just would have left this and it's goo point, then like I'd be happier. Yep.
That's so a little aggressive on that first question.
We're here to fight.
I think
I stand by it.
Did you hate it?
No, I don't hate it.
You just
I will happily eat it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying I think it's just like to achieve that. I think not always. Again, I've had good. Like Sadie is a phenomenal cook. She's a phenomenal cook. And she does enough baking that she knows how to not sacrifice this to get this. But it's just like more often than not, when I have had the bake, it just takes away from it. What is your stance on this?
I think I'm with you honestly on it. Is like. I like a good baked mac and cheese. I mean, it probably depends. There's probably some baked mac and cheese that I like more than stovetop.
Yeah.
But as a whole, in general, I'd probably go stovetop. Like if you're giving me a choice of like, I've got a random baked mac and cheese and a random stovetop, my odds are better with that. I like the stovetop better.
I'm with you. I think it's like one of those things, like for me personally, like baked mac, I think for most people has a higher ceiling, but I think stovetop mac has a higher floor. Like the worst stovetop mac is like typically still pretty good. Yeah. Where it's like bad baked is like, this is now like mac and cheese loaf and it's no longer mac and cheese.
Yeah,
where
you
it's
can.
like,
There's potential to really screw it up.
right, like like tell me I'm wrong. Like some Velveeta shells and cheese like hits every time.
Dude, or so what noodle is best?
I like a traditional macaroni noodle to go in there just because I think it's good. But I will like the problem with the shells and cheese that happens sometimes is the shells stack, they Pringle each other, and then sometimes they don't get all the way cooked through because of the Pringling. You got to be diligent of like breaking up your shells.
Yeah.
But again, a marginally made stovetop shells and cheese is a pretty solid mac and cheese that I think has topped a lot of like low end baked macs I've had.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think I disagree with any of that.
I think for me personally, I think I'd like, because just the nature of the baked mac, it just doesn't do anything for me. Like at that point, it's like, why am I
can appreciate some baked mac, a little top to it.
Yeah,
but
it's never done anything. To me, I want creamy, not crunchy. So like, why am I crunching?
Yeah. All right, your turn.
Was that actually Sadie?
Yeah, that was
funny.
Can you answer that whole thing assuming you were right? You were right.
I knew it was Sadie because Sadie is a baked mac mama, and like I don't blame her for that. I understand.
She's a baker.
I understand.
She's got some phenomenal desserts.
Oh my gosh, yes, dude, she is.
Honestly, I'm gonna say this right now. We should do Kylie and Sadie Bake Off.
Ooh, dude.
I will.
You know who else needs to be thrown in there at this point right now? Rachel. Those caramel apple blondies from Friendsgiving. Holy moly, dude.
Those were a problem.
Honestly, that could be like a top 5 all time for me. Those were so good.
Dude, I have said that about, I've probably said that about Sadie. I know I've said that about Kylie.
Oh yeah.
Dude, she made those homemade oatmeal cream pies. Dude.
What? Like what? And those brownies that look like the Cece's brownies with like the powdered sugar on them.
Those were probably Alyssa's all-time favorite.
They're so good.
Dude, I'd eat a gross amount of desserts at this bake-off.
Dude, literally. Laurel's mom, my mother-in-law, I guess I can say that now.
Hey.
For Thanksgiving every year, she makes this like chocolate fudge sheet cake. So it's this like thin cake where it's like dense and it's just like half as much like fudgy ganache topping as it is like actual cake. Bro. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Dude, I maybe like
a good dense cake.
Oh, dude, I purposefully cut Thanksgiving dinner short for myself to save room for as much sheet cake as I could.
That's just smart.
Honestly, I was like, if I'm allocating calories here, I know what I'm putting it to. And we had, dude, everything was very good. I made my my sweet green beans again.
Those were good with the bacon.
Mm-hmm,
yeah, those were very good.
And I was like, I'm gonna have like a little turkey. Ooh, some deviled eggs. And I was like, I'm done. Time for sheet cake, huh? Weird. Oh, dude. So good. She also, every year for my birthday, I have her make me a fruit pizza. So it's this big sugar cookie and then this cream cheese icing and then a bunch.
Melissa has a fruit pizza that she makes.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So.
All right.
I am turned on.
Pick a question.
Oh yeah. What?
I'm curious if anybody listening can hear our Christmas music in the background.
I hope so.
Didn't mean to leave that on.
Here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus. Right down Santa Claus Lane. In a foot race, who is the fastest Triad employee?
Me.
You think so?
I don't know. We got some fast employees.
You are fast. I will give you that.
Kevin
is fast.
I want to say me because I want a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I want we've got our Christmas party on Saturday. I'd be down. I'm gonna
do a foot race.
Yeah, this doesn't
Someone's
release
gonna
until
blow a
Monday after our Christmas party.
Yeah, someone's gonna blow a hammy.
Dude, honestly, probably me. Yeah, but I'm still gonna win.
That's right.
I'll blow it on the finish line. What?
Nothing. That's cool. We'll send videos. Yeah, it's like, how did Kevin tear his Achilles? Like,
100%. That's how it would happen.
I am curious. I feel like we have employees who would be deceptively fast and employees who would be deceptively slow.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're talking in a foot race. We're not talking distance here. Because, like, you know, like Kaylin is fast.
Is
Like,
she?
oh yeah, over distance, yes. Like in a sprint, like I think
yeah.
I think I'm faster than Kaylin. But like you pull out a half marathon, Kaylin's cooking everyone we have.
That makes sense.
Well,
like, yeah, what's the distance here? Are we talking about 100 meter
yeah,
or 40?
yeah, like a 40-yard. Yeah, I think like a 5-second race kind of thing.
Yeah. 40's probably that's. I think 40's probably what I assume when I read that.
Yeah. That's tough. You are fast. I will
think,
give you that.
I think Noah's probably up there.
So Noah's one of those people who, like, I feel like is like, he's either as fast as I think he would be, or he's like way slower than I think he would be. You know what I mean? Like, there's just like, I don't know what it is about him, but there's something where you're like, he's just like, oh no, I'm not fast at all. You know, like, because you have those people sometimes. You have like the guys who look athletic and aren't at all.
Yeah.
And then you have guys who don't look athletic and you're like, the hell, dude?
Yeah.
Shout out Clackner.
Dude, honestly, man, I think he was on a lot of our sports teams in college, man.
Literally.
Yeah. Always picked one of the first ones for volleyball, dude.
He is athletic.
Yeah. He's great at volleyball. Great at a number of things. Yeah, who else is in the question there?
Yeah. Well, like him and Ethan played a lot of like basketball, still do.
I was thinking Ethan too.
Ethan's potentially up there.
I think there's something to be said too for just generally being involved in sports, for like developing those skills of just simply being fast.
Right. I think like not Mike. Mike might. Well, I don't know. How fast can Mike roll?
I mean, if you take his circumference.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I hope Mike's listening. Mike, comment on this. Let us know what your circumference is. You're giving us weight updates. Give us a circumference update.
Yeah, right.
And for anybody that doesn't follow Mike, go follow Mike Shear. He's a giant.
Oh, what'd you say? Yeah. What's your radius?
Yeah. What's your radius?
Yeah. He's large.
He's almost 300.
Yeah, he's very close. Yeah, I think he will become, once he eclipses 300 pounds, will be the heaviest employee we've ever had.
Yeah. And like a very purposeful, like, yeah, just a monster.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, he competes in bodybuilding.
Yeah, he's a professional bodybuilder. Then you have like Ian, right? Like, how fast is Ian? You know, I mean, his last name's Rush. Got to go for something.
He's got to be fast.
He better be.
Dude, that does remind me of Tanner Davis announcing in our like pledge class message board or whatever you want to call it, that you know, they had their baby, their first baby, Jet, and Jake Frericks, another friend from college, commenting on there, just be like, wow, sounds fast. I don't know. No, I did the sample triad workout with Ian. I don't know if I'm going with Ian. Great sport. I think he had great technique, great movements, great form. I don't know, man. We did some sprints. I don't know if I'm going.
You don't see the speed?
Nah, no, I don't know. Unless he was really holding back.
Homeschool kids.
Yeah. I feel like
Christian.
Yeah, honestly,
Christian seems most apt to get injured. You know what I mean?
I feel like Mason could probably be in there too, though.
Could be. My money, I think I'm with you. I think it's Noah.
Noah or Christian.
Yeah, I think Noah, Christian, and you would be a good race.
All right, we're doing that company Christmas party in the parking lot.
That's incredible.
I'm bringing my running shoes. We're not. I'm not giving them a heads up.
Yeah.
All right. We got some good questions going on. Ooh, here's a good one.
You marked a bunch out that so I couldn't see.
Yeah, I got some surprises. This one, I'll let you guess on who asked this one as well. Why are you both so handsome?
Aw. Well, Andrew.
You got that one right too.
I sent him a meme the other day that said at the top of it, it's like a picture of a cowboy, and the top of it just said cowboy facts, and then it says, I miss you. I just trying to be like you. Just trying to be like you, Andrew. That's what we're doing.
We've got a great role model.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Gosh, he's a handsome devil.
Yeah.
Dude, he puts a cowboy hat and a blazer on.
Dude.
And brother.
Dude, I drove up for his wedding. I almost objected.
Yeah. You ever see the like Henry Cavill, the guy who played like Superman and stuff. And there's this like meme, and it's Sydney Sweeney from like some movie, and the caption says like, when your girlfriend calls you her boyfriend in front of Henry Cavill, and he's like, I don't know why she would say that. Just reminded me of that.
Yeah. To answer your question, Andrew, I would I'm gonna go with Thomas on this one. We've got a great role model. I hang a picture. I have a hung picture in my mirror of Andrew every morning, and I just try and do my hair, trim my beard, and just try and match that.
I'm with you, dude. I've had his picture up on my mirror for a while, and I almost had to shave my entire beard and mustache off because I got so distracted looking at him while I was trimming it that I almost took my mustache off.
Wow.
Yeah, would have been worth it.
All right, you got another one, or you may do another one?
Well, I'll go again.
Yeah.
Let's see. We'll do. This one says, "Love your podcast. First off, appreciate that." This is Josh. What aspect of building a business has been the hardest to master?
So many.
First and foremost, I don't think we've mastered much.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so we'll let you know when we get there. The hardest to not be dumb at.
I've got an answer if you want me to go first.
Man, I would say
we might have the same answer.
There's a lot of hard parts to this. That's for sure. For me, the thing that was the toughest to learn and the toughest to learn in the first place, the toughest to pass along to other individuals, and the toughest to continue to push forward and get better at, honestly, is marketing. Luckily, that is the thing I tend to be the most interested in. It is the area that I tend to enjoy quite a bit. But getting people in the door in the first place. Now, a lot of our marketing, we definitely, big part of our business is customer service, and therefore a lot of our marketing is word of mouth. But when you have no customers, you've got no start to the word of mouth. So
right.
You have to work on getting people in the first place. And then you have to do things pretty consistently. Like even with a small customer base, there's still things, at least in our experience and our business, there's still things that you have to do to stimulate that. And even with the best customer service, there's outside factors that we had to bring in or had to include to get to the point where we were growing our customer base, to stimulate that customer or that word of mouth. But yeah, I would say marketing has been the hardest thing to learn. Just get people in the door was difficult, and still to this day, it's like a lot of like I think we really figured it out early on and figured out how to kind of one get to the point where we're covering our bills, two how to grow past just that plateau of just covering our bills and see some growth. I think the two things that I continue to have to put a lot of effort and have to learn a lot on today is passing that along to other people, where I think a lot of people, like newer people or even just anybody else here, I think it's hard for people to grasp how difficult and how perfect you have to be about certain things to actually get people in the door and get people to shop with you. You can't just throw up a Facebook post and assume, you'll get some people in from it. Yeah. It's, and if you do a really good Facebook post, it'll get a bunch of people in. I say Facebook, we use more Instagram these days, but it's more like you will bang your head. You will throw so many posts up and do. And I use this as an example because like we do a lot out in the community. We do a lot of we do different ads, we do different printed stuff. We do all kinds of stuff, but like you'll throw hundreds of posts up and get literally 0 people in the door. And you have work to fine tune it and change it and make it perfect, and it still just doesn't work. And on the 101st try, you finally get 2 people in, and you're like, all right, I'm on to something. And I had to go through that, and it's tough to pass that along to other people of how difficult it is to get people in the door and how perfect you have to be about and how specific and how everything has to align in a certain way to be able to accomplish that. And it's tough to help people learn that and realize that without having them go through the same thing that I did. And a big part of it today is also okay, well, what got us here may not get us there because we're not done growing. We don't plan on stopping here by any means. We plan on doing a lot from here, and we got the customer base because of, and not that it's fully marketing, but our marketing got us to this point here. Yeah. If we continue to do the same marketing, it may not get us there.
Yeah. I always think back to we have a friend whose mom opened a coffee shop at one point, and the coffee shop had great food. It had great drinks. The location made sense. Cool atmosphere. I remember actually going in there once. This is back in Springfield. I remember actually going in there once, funny enough, before I ever knew our friend. But everything made sense. Yeah. Top to bottom, everything made sense. The location made sense right across the street, right across the street from a college. Yeah. Food was good. I remember having food there. It was good. Drinks were fun. The atmosphere was good. Everything was great. Everything you would want out of a coffee shop. Nobody knew about it.
Yeah. Dude, I feel like
you can have everything right inside your doors, and it does not matter if people do not come in your doors.
It's I think that's a testament to that's either a best case scenario, that's a base level requirement is to just be a good business.
Right. I think people forget that.
Yeah. I'm going to assume that is just the base level requirement. The worst case scenario is that doesn't even fucking matter. Having a good business.
Literally, it doesn't though.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. We have a lot of customers who love Triad, who love what we do. We have not changed our model since the day we opened. We've made tweaks, but the idea, the principle has been the same the whole time. Yep. How many times did we almost not be a supplement store anymore?
So many times.
Because
we're having literally no customers walking in the door.
Right. So again, it's I always have described it in the past of it turns into Like, oh, you want to start a business? Okay, have a great model, have a great place, have a great everything. Now hold your breath.
Yeah.
How long can you hold your breath before you die?
And that's
if
why
if you can hold it long enough, you have a chance.
Right. And I think that's a big aspect to it, but I think that's why I say marketing is like,
Right.
dude, you gotta hit the fucking streets, man.
Oh yeah.
You gotta get people shopping with you.
Yep.
And
we tried everything.
yeah,
Online, guerrilla marketing,
dude, so many things. And
flyering parking lots.
dude, we did a lot. We were getting some return of it, man. And I hated doing that.
Yep.
I didn't like the look of it. I felt like it kind of cheapened the brand, but we were seeing some return on it where so many other things we were seeing no return. I was like, man, we got to keep hitting it, man. Luckily we don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But we can exclude those types of things because it would probably still have a return. It could hurt the brand.
We didn't have a reputation to lose at the time.
Exactly. That's 100% what it was. Right. We were, if you would have told us day one that like, hey, we think, or if you would have came to me day one and said, hey, we should probably do some parking lot flyering. I'm like, I don't think that's good for the brand. Right. But when your back's up against the wall, 6 months in and it's like, well, we got to get.
You guys haven't turned the heat or air conditioning on your house for a year.
Yeah, dude, we had it. We were doing it at the store for a little bit actually. Yeah. So, yeah. So if you ever walked into Triad the winter of 2016, and it was especially cold in there. It wasn't because our heater didn't work.
Yeah.
It was legitimately.
No matter what you were told.
It was legitimately because, dude, that's a crazy story to think about. I haven't told that or even thought about that one in a long time. Is we legitimately weren't running the heater in Triad.
Yeah.
In 2016. Yeah.
Save money, man.
Saving money, dude.
Dude.
Everything counted.
Literally though.
But yeah. Yeah, that's what I'd say. Marketing. What would you say?
I think that it's kind of the same thing of, in the sense of like, my answer is people. And I think it's kind of the same thing in the sense of like, it doesn't matter if you have great people, which we do. We have great people, or if you have bad people, which I've worked places that had bad people. People management is always a factor. There's just so much that goes into it. And so many angles to be understanding and balance. And it's just one of those things where, again, I think it's one of those where I think you have the same assumption of like, we're a good business. We have a good model. We're doing good things. So customers will just come.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not how it goes. Like you can have great employees with great attitudes and all these things, but that just doesn't mean that like everybody's going to be happy all the time.
Yeah.
Or like,
people are people, man.
People are people. You're giving the right message. Like, that's always difficult. It doesn't matter if everybody on your team is awesome. When it comes time to promote somebody, that can be difficult. When it comes time to open a new location, that can be difficult. There's balance that has to be achieved, because you can make a great employee disgruntled really, really fast, especially if they're great and they understand their worth. Like, those
are the people you don't want disgruntled too.
Exactly. Like when I worked at the hospital, I always say like there was definitely challenges, but different challenges. But it's like, it wasn't like, oh, who am I going to promote? That was pretty easy, right? Because it was like, you guys are all great. You guys aren't great.
Mm-hmm.
The great people get promoted,
Mm-hmm.
Here it's like everybody's great.
Yeah.
And so there's a level of like, no matter what's happening, somebody kind of has to get the short end of the stick sometimes.
Yeah.
And
there's a spectrum. There's not a clear line of like, this person is good and everybody else is bad. It's this person is good. This person is almost as good.
Right. Oh, I think this is a good perspective. Like anybody who shops at Triad, like you love all of our employees, right? Of course, we do too.
Right.
Pick 4 of them. That's who's winning awards this year.
Yeah. Yeah. That's tough.
Pick 4 people out of the group of everybody who scores an A+ all the time.
Yeah.
And be like, and it's really difficult.
I think because obviously, I would assume most people shop at one location. There's probably some people that know like most employees here, which is super cool. Yeah, it'd be hard to pick four, but like even if you're just a customer at one location, pick your favorite.
Yeah.
That's tough.
And like not just pick your favorite, but like we aren't picking favorites, but it's like announce it to the rest of them too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. I mean? Yeah.
Like,
now, yeah.
Without them being disappointed, which is like a human emotion, a natural thing.
Right.
Like, because like I want to give them all awards. I would love to give them all a personalized award.
Yep.
And it's like, but like you can't really do that either. Like you have to have like, you have to celebrate and you have to find ways. It's a really difficult time. And so
there are, at the same time, man, I think there's some people that should definitely be celebrated. No one in particular, obviously for the award, but the people that, because I've seen this in the past of people that don't win awards, which we usually do at Sample Try in October. The people that don't win the awards, but are genuinely happy for the people that do win awards. And I haven't heard this much, but I've heard it a little bit when people say, well, what are they doing better than I'm doing? What can I do better? That is the mindset that is like, that's how you win the award the next year.
Right.
That's 100% how you win the award.
Like I always used to say, like my go-to, like my winning phrase, I always felt like I used to use whenever I was wanting to get promoted at like previous jobs was I would always say like, I understand if it's not me, but if it's not, help me become the obvious choice next time.
Yeah.
Help me be the person that like, what do I need to do? What are the things that I can be doing? Like I want it to be taken for granted that I'm going to come and work hard no matter what. But it's like, what are the things that I can do to be the obvious choice next go around?
Yeah.
And yeah, that attitude is great, but it is, it's just one of those things where there's just so many aspects to dealing with people. Again, a perfect example is you can't motivate everybody the same way. Good employee, like I always use this example of the hospital as well, because I think it's just an easy one to use. But my best two employees were James and Cody. And Cody fed off of praise. When I would praise Cody, he would do amazing. If I were to kind of tell Cody something more negative, he'd kind of not do as well, right? James was the polar opposite. Even if James was doing well, you had to tell him he sucked, right? And that's what would motivate him. If you told him he was doing good, he'd get worse. And it's such an interesting dynamic because it's two completely different ways of handling somebody that are both doing great. Like I bring them both up because I thought they were equally great. And it's like, I had to literally do opposite things. One was more natural of like praise, and the other, like I needed to ridicule a great employee to get a motivation of like pushing or like they'd be better. You know what I mean? Like it's like, it's crazy.
It's wild.
And if you don't, if you think like you're going to go in and treat 20 people identically and they're all going to respond the same way,
yep,
not going to work.
Yeah, human nature is not one size fits all by any means. And the tough thing there is obviously, the employee that does well with praise is giving them praise when they're not doing well, which is also tough as a human being.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Right. Criticizing when an employee is doing well to the one that does well with criticism is that's a tough thing.
It's not easy.
Yeah. I got another good question, but we're gonna do short intermission. I drank too much water before this podcast.
What a goon.
Yeah. Thomas, if you could just sing some nice elevator music while there.
I'll think about it. Okay, he's in the bathroom. I'm being held against my will. Please call the police. My name is Thomas. His name is Kevin Wilhite. He's holding me hostage. Please help. He's holding me hostage. I can't leave. I'm not allowed to leave. I think he's listening. I have to act normal now.
Help.
These are a lot of good questions, though. We appreciate you guys doing this. Our friend AJ asked who our favorite customer is in Atlanta, and it's obviously AJ. AJ, you might be our only customer in Atlanta, but you are our favorite customer in Atlanta. I took the privilege while you were gone to tell AJ that he's our favorite customer in Atlanta.
I was hoping we did that.
Yeah.
Just figuring out how to work headphones.
You're up.
All right. Let's see here. You were around for a lot of the early stages, so I think we'll both have good answers for this one. But I really like this one. This one comes from Tyler Wynn, previous employee, who worked with us for about a little over a year, close to a year and a half.
Yeah, closer to a year and a half.
Year and a half. So
still helps from time to time.
Yeah. Still close friend of ours. Appreciate the question, Tyler. Appreciate everybody's questions.
Mm-hmm.
He asked so to give a little perspective, he worked with us. What was it? After we opened up Yukon. So like year 7 and 8 of business total. He asked, would you say the business grew a lot quicker than y'all expected?
That's tough. That's a tough perspective to think of.
Yeah. And it's a big reason why I mentioned his perspective was our 7th and our 8th year. Right.
I think the perspective, at least my perspective, is interesting, and it's kind of answers this question, but I think it's kind of a bridge off of it as well. I think that maybe this is a good or a bad thing. I don't know. One, it's surprisingly difficult to notice growth. Like, growth is happening. Things are happening that make it feel like it. But I think naturally in my younger days, I associated growth and success as like less trials and tribulations and less stress and less challenges. When like we fight and scratch and claw as much today as we ever have.
Yeah.
There's been weeks recently that felt like harder weeks than we've ever had. The challenges are just different.
It's not necessarily easier.
No, like I think the like, oh my gosh, are we going to be closed, 2 weeks from now because we can't pay rent or something? Luckily, in a lot of ways, I say this, that like, that's not necessarily not a worry, but it's not like the forefront worry. You know what I mean? It's, are we successful with the plans that we've put in place? Are we, doing the things? Are the stores growing? Are we making changes that need to be? Now it's more like, did we make the right decisions, right? Like the decisions are there and the decisions are more expensive than they ever have been. So like now it's like, did we make the right decisions? Or can we continue to trust our intuition while continuing to grow and pivot and like understand where the market's going? But I would say like originally, if you would have like, the hubris I think we potentially had, I think if you'd have told me when we would be where we're at, I would have been like, wow, that's slow, you know? 100%. But I think that was more of just being naive. So I think that there's definitely days where I take the step back and I go, oh shit, like we've got a lot here. You know what I mean? I think it is because like, it is an inch at a time sometimes that, because growth looks weird. Like we've always been growing, but growth doesn't mean a new store every year. Growth doesn't mean a bunch of new employees every year. So sometimes growth can look really stagnant. It's more like, I know you've described this a lot. It's a lot more like steps than it is like a hill.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like you're here and then you're kind of here. And then you're, whoa, it's like these big jumps and then coast for a while, and then big jump, then coast for a while kind of thing is more of what it feels like. So it's a hard question to answer because I think there's a previous version of me that would be that would say no, it didn't grow faster than we expected. There's maybe even an aspect where like we thought we were going to take over the world in 3 weeks, but like obviously that's not going to happen. But then there's times I look back and I go like, oh shit, like this is like, we're a lot further along than I think I realize sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think a big aspect to this too that's interesting is my perspective of time has changed.
Yeah.
What I remember talking to some employees and being like, talking about another company or something that we have, worked with or something, and where they got to and how long it took, and it just being like, guys, like you have no idea how big we can be in 5 years. And I say 5 years and I think like that's a blink. And then other people are like, 5 years? 5 years ago I was in elementary school.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's I think sometimes the perspective, especially as we've gotten into some new areas and some new markets with a couple new stores over the last 3-4 years, we've had new people find out our customer base has grown over quite a bit recently, that sometimes people don't realize that we've been open for 9 years.
Yep.
I think my answer would be that in the beginning, I think would be similar of like, hey, and I think this works well is because like one of like the like milestones that I always envisioned was 3 locations. And I kind of liked that with the 3 original owners of like, we could all kind of like have a store that we're kind of like overseeing or like managing for a bit. And then we'll, develop from there. I think that always kind of stuck with me of like, man, 3 locations, like that's like, you've got a base, you've got some traction, you've got like a platform to like really like get going. So that was always never the end goal. But like a really cool milestone. And if you would have told me in the beginning, it'll take in 9 years from now, you guys will have 3 locations. I think I would have been like, man, like that seems a little behind on what I would want. But sitting here today and saying that we've got 3 locations, 9 years in, we've got 3 locations. I think that's, you don't want to be on camera, Preston? I think
Preston, show your butt.
Sitting here, 3 locations, warehouse, some traction with Define Nutrition, a lot of things on the horizon, which we may or may not get into here in a bit. But I think like you said, man, the amount of trials and tribulations that we've had to go through to get to this point is crazy. It would be crazy to condense that into less than 9 years.
Literally, I think
the amount that we've
cracked.
Yeah, dude. We may not have made it if you would have tried to. And I think that's where that grow too fast term comes from. Yeah. I also think the amount that we've had to learn to get to this point. We needed
the time.
Yeah, we needed the time. And that was honestly, and I think that was like the biggest lag for me, like the biggest like gap in time where it took us 5 years ago from 1 to 2 locations. I think I would have thought that was a really long time. Sitting here now, and our getting to our second location took a year longer than we expected. That was, a year's not that long.
Right.
But I think I would have said, man, that's a long time. But the amount that we learned in those first 5 years was what prepared us to be able to replicate what we're doing. So
I think one of the other big factors too is your standard of success changes so rapidly
yeah,
that like I remember thinking like, gosh, when we have 2 stores, like that'll be crazy. And then it's like, oh my God, we're gonna have a 3rd store? Like this is nuts.
yeah,
And then now I sit here and I'm like, yeah, 3 stores.
yeah.
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Which is like, yeah, 3 stores in a warehouse, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like it's
Yeah, the warehouse is just standard now. And
Oh,
we're like,
yeah.
when we first moved in here, like, how crazy is this?
Yeah,
It's like a
dude.
dream, dude.
literally like we have 3 customers of ours live in my apartment building.
Whoa.
And so it's like, and like I didn't, one of them I didn't know until the other day when I got on with my Polo because I was headed to work, and they're like, "Oh, do you work at Triad?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like, they're like, "Oh, what store do you work at?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm the general manager." So I oversee. And they're like, "Dang, that's so cool!" Like, I love Triad. And I'm
Heck yeah.
like,
Dude, I've got
"That's crazy."
2 people that live on my street that I know of that are customers with us.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that's like definitely an interesting perspective too, because you try for we've talked about this a million times. It's like we're doing X amount of sales in a day, or we have, X amount of customers in a day. And you're like, we're trying to do this. We did it. Yeah. Celebrate for 3 seconds. And then like expectations now higher.
We do that again the next day, and it's nobody cares.
Nobody cares. anymore.
You don't hit that the very next day, everybody's disappointed.
Right. Exactly. Like it's a very interesting thing how fast finish lines become starting lines.
Yeah.
Like the finish line used to be this amount in a day or this amount of customers in a day. And that, just like you said, that becomes the start point very quickly of like, if we don't see this and that, like days we used to dream about are now my like good day, bad day line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think it's
what pushes us forward.
Yeah, it's what it pushes us forward.
And keeps us gray haired and crazy.
Just like no matter. Yeah.
I just remember it being like, oh my gosh, we did $2,000 in sales today.
Yeah.
And then it's like, shit, we didn't even hit $2,000 today.
Yeah, dude.
That happens so fast. So fast.
Man, I think my answers are very similar to yours too, of like, man, we grow by like, dude, we'll go sometimes like a year or 2. Yeah, in the beginning, we were going 3-4 years without doing anything, but we'll go like a year or 2 nowadays where it feels like we like on surface level and to a customer's standpoint, like we didn't really do much new. Or
even to an employee standpoint.
Even to an employee, we didn't grow a lot.
Yeah. Opportunity didn't come.
But it's so much like back end, like learning, developing, setting ourselves up, making sure that we, everything aligns to be able to take that big step. And then with overnight, we open a new location. We hire not just enough employees to fill that location, but 2 extra ones. Mm-hmm. We release 6 new Define products, but all of that stuff had been worked on over the last year or 2, and it just all happens to align all at the same time.
Well, it's also really funny because I think this is the thing that that also is a bummer and a cool thing of like, when a customer sees something, like you're saying, when a customer sees something, it's almost been going on for so long that our excitement isn't there.
Yeah.
Like it's easy for us to be like, yeah, customer right here, we might announce it. Obviously we announce it like right before it happens and like all this stuff to like build excitement and all these good things. But like, it's like we've been talking about XYZ ad nauseum for 6 months.
Yeah.
And it's like, just waiting for it to happen. And don't get me wrong, we're excited about it, obviously, but it's not like, it's like, when you're really excited to buy someone a present for Christmas or something and you have to wait. Well, like imagine buying your girlfriend or somebody's like Christmas present in June and you just have to wait.
Yeah.
And you're waiting for it to come in and you're like, we can't say anything about it. And so then you condition yourself to like not think about it.
Yeah.
As much because you don't want to spill the beans or get too excited. And then it finally happens. And it's like, there is a level from our standpoint where it is kind of like,
I've conditioned myself to not be excited about this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where it's like we're excited, but it's always great, when you see customers get excited. But it is like a really interesting thing too of like there is so much like hurry up and wait on certain things that like get excited. Like again, a new store, hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you might have a lease signed, hurry up and wait, like, I know we've been in situations where it's like, we start a process in January and it's December.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, hurry up and wait. You know what I mean?
It's crazy. It is. These things take so much longer than some people. I think most people realize, man.
Yeah, especially in this industry, unfortunately.
Dude, it's interesting you bring that up though, because I think it's starting to make sense. I think going back to our S2 days, dude, we wouldn't know about new products dropping or getting new products until like the day before sometimes.
Literally.
And it's like, and from our perspective at the time was just like, oh yeah, they've probably been, working on this for a few weeks. And dude, they've been probably working on that for an entire year prior.
Yeah. Like it was a year before, I remember the day CTC showed up and we were like,
that was before I was there. I remember when we got Carbon Fire in as a brand.
Oh,
and we only found out about the day before.
That one they had to have worked on
for a long time because there's so many aspects to that brand too. But yeah, it's so one thing, man, that is honestly a really nice point to this is like the way the question was asked is, did you guys, it almost sounds like Tyler's assuming that we grew a lot faster than we expected. And I think that helps me with some perspective of like, I think some people look at what we're doing, like, and, not to, be overly like braggy or anything, but it's just like, I feel like some people like see like 3 locations, headquarters,
bunch of
t-shirts everywhere. That's a big one.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you guys are blowing up and going crazy, like everybody knows about you and everything. And it's just like, it helps me gain perspective of like, man, we are doing pretty well. You know, like it's like, it helps me like really like, especially when it's like our standard is constantly being raised and we want to constantly do more and more, that it helps me kind of take a step back and smell the roses for a second is honestly our customers having like being hyped about us, man. It's a super cool aspect. So
seriously though.
Yeah. You got a question?
Yeah. Let's do another one.
Yeah.
Alex Hurst, another former employee, says, why? That's it.
That's a simple or a very, very deep question.
How deep do you want to
go? I'm gonna put myself in Alex's shoes here for a second and assume that it is a very deep, or it comes from a very deep place of asking that question. And I'm going to answer it in a very deep way, but a very simple way.
Oh, I love it.
Fear of being average.
Yeah.
Yep. I want to live, I want to live an extraordinary life.
Yeah. Well, like, I think a thing for me, and I think you and I have had this talk of like, why not?
You got one chance, man.
Right. And like I remember us having the conversation, whenever I was at the hospital and was like, we're going to look back on this and be like, why the hell did we not do this together? Yeah. Like, why are we doing this the way we're doing this?
Yeah.
Like let's, like, it would be very, like, I would look back at like opportunities of things that like I really enjoyed and be like, why did I not? Like,
yeah.
What was there really something that kept me from doing this?
No, that's yeah, especially for you, man, coming back on board, man. Like, I think, you talked about like, looking into the future and predicting regret. I think I would have done the same thing, man. It's like, dude, if we were fucking, dude, like I'm sitting here imagining ourselves, like if you wouldn't have come back on board when you had the opportunity, when we all had the opportunity, you know, and we're both, you know, in our 40s or 50s or whatever. And, you know, we've, you know, both lived a lot of our life and we're kind of looking back, dude. I think there would have been a lot of regret on my side of like, or like I probably would have been talking to you about like updating you on, you know, Triad and Define, everything that's going on, like we did whenever you were at the hospital. And it'd been like, I think there would have been a lot of regret that would have set in at that point of like, fuck, man, like, this would have been really fucking cool to do if Thomas were on board.
Well, and especially because the hospital probably would have taken me away.
Yeah.
The hospital would have moved me away.
Yeah.
I wouldn't live here.
Dude, it would probably be like catching up after a couple of years, just reminiscing, man.
Yeah, right.
And
sitting there having a beer and being like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What if we would have done it this way?
Right.
Yeah. I'm glad we did it. I'm glad we're doing it the way we were fucking doing it, man.
Me too.
It's like you said, more trials and tribulations than you expect.
Yeah.
But dude, just a moment as man, I'm glad you're the one. You're one of our core group. You're one of the whole fucking team here that's doing it with us, man.
Yeah.
I don't think there's many people that could do what you're doing right now and be in the position that you're in.
I appreciate that, man. I think I view you the same way, especially the more, you know, this is an interesting conversation that I've had a lot recently, especially with like our newer managers, is scope. Is, you know, what you expect somebody to, you know, and Wes, who's a close friend of ours too, he does my job for Supplement Superstores. And a great resource for me of just somebody to talk to about the position, whatever. Been awesome. Been like,
I did get to see Wes when I was back in town.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was only for 20, 30 minutes, but
that's great.
he was busy. I was busy. But it was really, really cool to see him.
He's such a great guy. I love Wes.
Same.
But it's something that he's brought up a number of times too, and him and I's semi-regular talks we've had now is, you know, scope of understanding, and you know that at each layer, like at any job, like a base level employee maybe sees 100 yards, where it's like, you know, your next level, maybe a manager or something like that, sees 1,000 yards, and then 10,000 yards, you know, whatever that increment makes sense for you. But it's like every layer peels back like 10x more layers.
Yeah.
And you know, you start to see more and more and understand more and more, and how much even just into a business our size, like what it takes to do like what we're doing. You know what I mean? And then
there's
like
so much more involved than I would have ever thought.
It is always a funny thing where, you know, I love from the podcast, I've had not often, but I've had a couple people, because like we're obviously pretty open about like things that we do and like our business model and our ideas. And people have been like, oh, you know, you speak so openly about it. Are you ever worried that like somebody else is going to do it? And I'm like, have fun if they decide to.
Dude, that is honestly a big motivation though, man. As like the harder it gets, the less amount of people that are going to want to do it.
Yeah. And you know, I think for me, like the more scope that I continue to gain, like you just like, I think we're at a point now, and I think this is something that like we all have to realize from a base level employee all the way to you, is that like no one person, let alone be in charge of everything, no one person could even be involved in everything.
No,
not even close.
Yeah.
Like a perfect example is like we were just talking about that, like I the other day had to drive from Norman to Quail. That was during rush hour traffic, so it took me about an hour, where I got 78 text messages.
And I probably didn't get most of those.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And so it is a very like it's very interesting. Like you start to, you know, each layer you peel back, you find like new levels of respect and understanding of just like what this beast takes to feed. And it's a lot of hours. It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of everything. And so, you know, and I say that from our base level employee all the way up of like you have to have the right people doing this.
Yeah.
And it's super rewarding.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, you do get to this, like, you know, I do think a part of our success, the little that I think we've seen compared to what we hopefully achieve one day, is I love the aspect of like a decent amount of our success, I think, is bred from not just a willingness to do it right, but just a willingness to do it.
Yeah.
Like just like we saw no mountain too tall. We saw no challenge too hard, no matter how many hours, no matter how much stress, no matter what, that it was just like,
just going to keep pushing forward.
just do it.
No matter what.
Know, we're going to do what other people aren't willing to do.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to set us apart.
Yeah.
So, and the nice thing about that is like, man, I think that's as funny as it is being willing to do something somebody else isn't is the most proprietary shit out there. Tell me something more proprietary than just being willing to fucking do it.
Dude, that is a fucking theme.
Yeah.
That is I shouldn't say theme. That's the fucking recipe, dude. Honestly,
Right.
Dude. I think I definitely find myself sometimes having the perspective of feeling like this is, I mean, it is definitely a lot more difficult than I would have anticipated.
Oh yeah.
By a lot.
Oh yeah.
And it makes it easy to assume that we maybe picked the wrong industry or picked the wrong model, or you know, and to look at other businesses from surface level and say, man, maybe we should have done this, maybe we should have done that,
Yeah.
and it would have been easier. But like if you remove yourself and look at, you know, try and put yourself in like maybe a customer's or like an outsider's like standpoint and say like, oh, like Triad does really well because, you know, they put a lot of emphasis on their customer service. They, you know, they train their employees and they don't run on commission and they carry a, you know, full product line and kind of hit, you know, the bullet points. Is like, man, like it's a really, you know, good model. Like all those things make a lot of sense, but to make all of those things work requires so much that it's helped. Having that perspective is definitely helped. Of like, man, if 3 supplement stores is this hard, like, and takes this much, I think business is just this difficult.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because I always think about this when I'm just like, even just driving out here from downtown, of like how many buildings I pass with names on them. I have no idea what they are. Like, I don't know what this, you know, Johnson Connectors is. And it's a 300,000 square foot building.
Yeah, dude.
And you're like, and a lot of it is offices. And you're like,
how many people do they employ?
How many people are there? How did you get to that?
What's their payroll like on an annual basis,
Dude,
man?
like
how did millions and millions of dollars
literally, and
for just one like normal size looking building
in one little like niche market of things. You know what I mean? Where it's just like what in the world?
Yeah.
Like you start to just realize of like Max, our barber. I was talking to him about this one time of like, how many things you pass where you're just like, I don't know what that is, but they've got 50 offices plus a warehouse space. You know what? We're not even fucking close to
50 offices and warehouse space.
Not even close to
We don't
that.
even have one office.
Right.
I know not a single person has an office here.
No. You got a ping pong table. Alyssa's the closest. She's got a desk.
Desk in the middle of a warehouse.
Right. Ryan has the other side of the desk.
All right, I got a good one. Let's see here.
But that always just blows my mind of just like, dude, like what?
No,
what
I do.
Is that?
I do the same thing. I can literally think of I don't know the name, but I can think of a specific building that I looked at just like a few weeks ago and was like, had the exact same thought.
Yeah, there's one that I saw that was like, it's called like, I don't know, like Ford Electrical Connections. And it's not like Ford Automobiles or something, I don't think. But it's just like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, what do they... Like obviously they make some kind of electrical connector.
Yeah,
but
you're like
what?
Yeah, you drive by, like you're past it in 2 seconds, so it's like a normal sized building. But then you really look at it and you're like, dang, like you said, it's like dude, there's probably 50 offices in there.
Right.
Like, that's a lot of fucking people, dude. You know what it costs to employ 50 people?
Like
a boatload. You pay them all minimum wage. You're still paying millions of dollars in payroll.
Right, and it's like, and that's just like, you got an office, you ain't paying a minimum wage, you know what I mean? And it's like, what all do you have? Like these are your office people. What are your what are your people that don't have offices look like?
Dude, I heard there was, I think it was a podcast. It was either a podcast or like a short book that I was just listening to on Audible as I was driving, and the person talking, they said, you're doing, what was it? It was like, $2 to $3 million in sales a year, and you've got 100 employees. And I'm like,
what?
That doesn't math.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what kind of business you're in. Maybe you've got 100% margins and everybody works from home and no expenses. I'm like, to employ 100 people, you need to be doing a little bit more than that in sales, I believe.
I think that's one of those things that people don't understand.
Yeah.
Too, is like how, like every step you grow, yes, you're making more money, but it costs usually about the same as your growth to just continue to feed it, if not more.
There's arguments on both sides. I know there's like obviously like sometimes like growth, to grow you have to sacrifice profit, or at least some profit. But to give an example of this, man, I really should look up the numbers and come back with the specifics on this. But I think we profited more in, I think we profited more in 2021 than we will this year. And in 2021 we had 2 stores. I think we probably had a year where we profited more with 1 store than we did with 3.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. At least on paper.
Well, and that's the thing that's funny too, because you'll see those things where it's like, and these are all made up things, but it's like, or something along these lines I heard where it's like, yeah, this company did $6 billion in sales, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, and they did $6 billion in sales this year, and their costs were $5.5 billion. And you're like, wait a minute, like you spend $5.5 billion to make 500 million off the top, like
right.
On the top, to sell $6 billion.
Right.
But it's like, you really like, it costs you 5.5 to sell 6. So you get a half a billion. Yep. Like, it's like, that's because again, like if we never had to buy supplements again, they just showed up for free.
Right. Dude. Yeah. It is crazy how much a business spends, dude.
Oh.
Which is one of the best things that you can do, especially if you have costs of goods. If you retail in any regard, is get a credit card with rewards, with cash back on it, because you will be spending a whole lot more than you ever have personally, and those rewards are nuts. We make more on our credit card points than I do salary. Like I could pay myself with our credit card points.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That means you could pay like half of my salary with credit cards. They call me the payroll bandit.
This will be a good one. What has been, this is another AJ Sloan one. What has been the most rewarding and fun part of the journey? People are asking some deep questions.
The most rewarding and fun part of the journey. There's a lot, man. One being being a part of something that I'm proud of. Like I am, when people ask what I do, I'm very proud and happy to talk about Triad. I think from a more personal standpoint, I think the thing that has been the most rewarding thing has been showing myself what I can do. You know what I mean? That the success that I can bring if I follow what I need to do, if I do, X, Y, and Z, the success that I can cause, the things that I can do, just from a personal standpoint, I think just the belief in my own growth and the rewards of the personal growth that I've gotten, that's been cool. That's been a lot of fun. Again, you learn so much through these trials and tribulations and things that you go through, but it's I think personal growth has been a big one. And man, I think the most rewarding thing I think for me is looking around at our staff and people that I value as friends and seeing a future of success that reverberates to everybody in a really large way, and getting to continue Preston and I have always joked about having offices close to each other kind of thing, and that's something that would be really fun because Preston and I can get work done and have a lot of fun at the same time, and those kind of things, those long aspirations of these will come sooner than we think. All of it has in some ways, but it's I think getting to see people that I will continue to grow, not just personally or the company, but grow with. Yeah, I think is one of the most rewarding things of people I'm genuinely excited to do life with forever.
Yeah, I think that would probably be mine too, as well as getting to watch others grow with the company. Yeah, it's a big thing when we interview people and bring people on is that we're not hiring you for the position today. We're hiring you for the opportunity moving forward, and being able to grow a company together that provides those opportunities, and getting to see those come to fruition is extremely cool. And Preston, being a great example of that, of, his big goal when he first started 4 years ago of wanting to be a full-time defined nutrition employee, getting to watch him step into that role is extremely cool. And to, even, him to step into that role, but to get to say, here's where we go from here, man. Here's what our next steps. Here's as your role changes. Here's how you continue to develop and step into even cooler roles. Right. Is a lot of fun, and it's really cool that where you guys talk about having offices office next door to each other. Back when you're working the Norman store together, that can seem a little bit like a dream, but today with you guys both being based out of the warehouse, it's we're not quite there yet, but man, it seems a whole lot more feasible.
I showed up to the warehouse last Monday and we had just gotten freaking 10 pallets that all need to go on the top shelf, which roughly equates to 20,000 steppers on the Straddle Daddy. And so I wasn't going to leave him single-handed to put all those on the second shelf. And so, because that's how you come home to a crust Christian. You don't come home to a crust Christian.
We don't want Kalen doing that.
And so I hung out for an hour or so and helped him put all those up. And it's man, just there we are with a wicked quad pump each, and
5 pallets each. Dude, one is So to give a little bit of a backstory to the Straddle Daddy, it is manual. It's not.
It is manual.
it's for most people know forklift. You've got controls and hydraulics that electronically you can raise and lower. They make straddle stackers that are very similar to a forklift. It's hydraulic and you can control it. Well, they also make a manual one that works very similar to a pallet jack, where if you don't know what a pallet jack is, it's just move pallets. It's not to raise and lower them. It's and you have to pump it manually just with the handle. They do that essentially in a forklift version that you walk around. It's very heavy, and
it is very heavy.
It is. The manual version is like $2,000 cheaper than the hydraulic version.
Got to collect that gold dust.
Quite a bit of gold dust on that one.
Tell you what. And my quads have never looked better.
But essentially, it is a manual forklift, one that you have to either pump with your hands or your foot.
So as you can imagine, like our second row of shelving is around 6.5 feet or so.
I think so. That sounds about right.
It's about my height, a little shorter. I'm a little shorter. So above my head from the ground, pallets that weigh 700 pounds. Each step, which is not the easiest thing. Like, it's a decent amount of force that it takes. It's no leg press, but it's like, I'd say each step is probably like doing like, I don't know, maybe like if you were doing a leg press, like a one-legged leg press with like 50 pounds.
Yeah.
Right? Like nothing crazy. You could do it plenty. But each pump moves it 1 centimeter off the ground. Maybe 2.
We counted when we were first putting the shelves up. It takes roughly, to get the pallet up to the 6 foot shelf or 6.5 foot shelf in place, it takes roughly 200 pumps.
200 reps is what it should be called.
200 reps. Yeah. That's
where it, like, to get one pallet above your head, you will have a quad pump. Honestly, we laugh because like it gives me more of a quad pump than any like legitimate like lift. Like if I go to the gym, there's no machine there that pumps my quads as much as the Straddle Daddy does.
Yeah.
And like Preston and I would take turns. We'd do 100 pumps each per pallet. And it took us to get like 10 pallets or however many we got. It took us 2 hours of consistently doing it.
No breaks because you're alternating.
Yeah. And the other person's taking the pallet jack and pulling another pallet in and like getting it all ready, because then you have to move this thing that already weighs 1,000 pounds and it feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds, right? When you're moving it. Now you just added 700 pounds, 6.5 feet up, and you've got to maneuver this thing to fit where legitimately there are places here where you are pushing the legs in and you will have a millimeter on both sides. Like it has to be perfectly lined up in order to get up there. It's honestly fun. It's really a fun challenge. Sometimes I really don't mind it. Could I do it all day, every day? No. So you'd find me jumping off the daddy. But
sorry, real quick. I gotta pee again. I'm really sorry.
Oh my god!
You keep talking about the Straddle Daddy.
Okay, I keep talking about the Straddle Daddy. So, it's quite a workout though. Seriously, he has a gun. He's been holding me hostage here for weeks. He barely feeds me. I get one drink. I get a little bit of water a day. And then on the podcast, if I'm good, he gives me some whiskey. Please help. I think he's coming back. So with the Straddle Daddy though, we got to just hang out though. Preston and I just got to hang out for like 2 hours, just kind of chit chatting and having a good time. And so, but yeah, that thing, this cheapo, got the manual one, which he regrets. I know he does. He won't say it on here, but he regrets it, because that thing sucks. But it's, you get a little, you appreciate everything that's up there. That same job though, that took Preston and I 2 hours would have taken Preston by himself like 12 minutes probably, in order to accomplish it. But that's all right. We'll get there one day. But it's a crazy leg pump. But back to the question being like, what are the things that I appreciate? I really do think that the things I appreciate the most about it are definitely just the people, getting to spend time with everybody, the friendships, like Kevin's back now, but the you don't realize when you're hiring somebody, and well, hopefully we do, but it's it's hard to grasp when you're hiring somebody how big a part of your life they're going to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like at one point, Preston was just an interview.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just yeah, all right. Yeah, I guess we'll hire this guy. Now he's one of my best friends. Him and I talk all the time.
It is it is crazy how close you get to the people that you work with here.
Oh yeah. Well, you're just around each other. Well, it's just like anything. It's like the going through something together.
Yeah.
Dude, like I say it, like the bachelor party, we'll all forever have even the people who met each other or really got to know each other better, on the bachelor party.
It's the first time I ever met Zach was we climbed a mountain together.
Right.
Every time I see Zach, I'm like, fuck Zach, man. What's up? Dude? I'm so pumped to see Zach.
There's
dude. Something
about going through trials together that brings you closer than anything.
Yeah. That's dude. I don't have, especially now, for me, life being so crazy, I don't have friends that I hang out with regularly that,
this.
Yeah, dude, honestly.
Yeah.
It is my closest group of friends, regular friends today, is legitimately the people that I work with.
Yeah, right.
So, all right, you want to do one more each?
Yeah, I'm down. This one says, how many more locations in the OKC area before you consider another market?
We've mapped this out.
There's a lot of meat on Oklahoma City's bones.
It's true. The cool part is I think that we have people that know about us in all areas. We're not nearly as saturated as we are up in the Quail Springs area or Yukon now or Norman now. We're not you go maybe Central or some other areas that we don't have a location and people don't know about us nearly as much, or maybe just not as big a fan. But I think there are still a decent amount of people that know about us, which creates opportunity. I think we've mapped it out because obviously you want, it's nice to go into an area where people know about you, but you don't want to be too close that you cannibalize an existing store. You go right down, you open up a store right down the road from an existing store. You just take half of those customers away and you're paying double expenses. So not a smart move. You got to find that sweet spot. Mapping it out, I feel like 7 to 8.
Yeah.
Think you could do 7 to 8 here in the metro.
I think we could too.
Yeah.
I think that there is. Oh, well, a big part of that too is growth of not Triad, but the metro. The metro growth is crazy. Have you driven up 35 recently?
In Little Scotia?
No, I'm good. Have you driven up 35 recently, towards Stillwater?
I don't think so.
They're building a Whole Foods up off Waterloo.
Oh, I did drive by that. Yeah.
Bro,
I did. Yeah.
it's crazy over there. That used to be it's funny to say that we've been here long enough when I remember when that used to be fields, but there is so much of that
area.
You know what? It's so funny because we used to live right there, and I'm sure you know because you still live close. But I was at Quail the other day, and I think this is the day I bought food for Quail, and I went north. And that Homeland on the corner of May and 164th.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Wait, May and what's? Oh yeah. I've shopped there.
Wow.
Yeah.
What in the world?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like I was just drove. That used to be nothing.
Yeah.
Literally nothing. And I was
popping over there, dude.
Dude, it is. And more north of there. Like everything. This like Guthrie to Edmond is just closing in more and more.
Yeah. Dude, the whole city has grown by a crazy amount. They talk about that happening with Norman and more. I'm sure I'm not in Norman nearly as much as I used to be. And
there's nothing in, but there's no space between them anymore.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And that's the thing is it's like before we know it, like I think I can't tell you how many people I know, people I do jujitsu with. Dude, like half of them live in Guthrie.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because it's just an extension of the metro.
Right. Edmond and Oklahoma City, like they're both connected. They're both kind of the same.
I think it's like one of those things where it's going to be the equivalent of like same thing. Like, dude, think of Blanchard and how many people are moving like out to Blanchard and stuff like that. That's growing. That's connecting its way. We went down there not too long ago and went to this like pickleball pizza place. That's like between Blanchard and Norman.
What?
Oh, dude, and it's nice. It's a super dope place. Actually, forget what it's called. Somebody knows that's listening, but
Pizzas and Pickle.
No, that'd be a good name though. Pizza's really good though, and the pickles are better. But dude, they have all sorts of. It's like a big like yard place. They got yard game, dude. Pickleball court, like place for kids to hang out. There's a bunch of stuff, dude. It's a cool place. But it'd be a good place for us to go as a company. It's just out there.
Christian be a fan.
Yeah, all the Norman guys would be a fan. But super, super cool. And like you're just seeing, I think that's a big part of it too, is it's like as fast as we can grow, the metro's growing faster.
Dude, that is kind of crazy to think about. Like, are we even keeping up with the growth?
No, because like, dude, think of how many people shop at Yukon from El Reno.
Yeah.
So many people. And El Reno's just becoming an extension. You know, it used to be like Yukon to Midwest City, Edmond to Norman. And now it's like, nope. Your metro now is like Guthrie to Blanchard, El Reno to Shawnee.
Dude,
that's your metro.
Yeah, that is wild to think about, man.
Like that's like you just don't realize like, you know, like our highway systems are decent here. So it's like you can get places pretty quick.
Yeah. I know, what is it like Oklahoma City, like per capita, like takes up the most amount of like square miles.
I think it's one of the, if it's not the largest, it's one of the largest metros.
Not even per capita, just simply just square miles. Like,
yeah. I think like the only other one that's like close is like Jacksonville, Florida is apparently like massive. But yeah, no, it's huge, dude. And there's a lot, and dude, all the things that are coming, like, it's always just growing. So I think there's like, I guess continuing to answer the question though is like, I agree. I think 7, but is the question saying like how many could we have here, or is the question how many do we have here before we start to branch out? Like because I don't think if we were going to go to another area, I don't think we build 8 triads here first necessarily.
Oh yeah,
Do we get to store 5 and then we start looking at another area to like branch out to?
I think there's the. Maybe not so obvious. Maybe it's just more of what I assume would be obvious, but like, take control of the area that you're currently in before you try and take on 2.
Right.
But like, where is that point? Does it need to be, fully maxed out? Every store is doing like is capped out, or are you mostly there? Like at what point does it happen?
Right.
So
like I think in my mind, you would start at like, maybe we've got 5 or 6 here.
Yeah.
And you feel good. You feel like, I don't want to like, we've talked about this before. You feel large competitor proof.
Mm-hmm.
You feel not worth it
Yep.
for someone to come and try to saturate your market.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there is a thing where we do kind of like benefit because, dude, I saw this thing. I think it's in Yukon. Where there's this like local like soap and like bath store, and a Bed Bath and Beyond is opening next door to them. And it's like, bro. And so one of the blessings that we do genuinely have is that large corporate supplement store is not the most popular.
Yeah.
Like,
We're not afraid to go open up by the large corporate supplement store.
We're not afraid to open by the Best Buy when we sell electronics. We're not afraid to, we're not afraid to do that.
Right.
We can be next door to Krispy Kreme and sell donuts. Like,
right. I guess at least in our industry.
No, I'm saying that.
Yeah.
I'm saying that we have the blessing of our industry being kind of that way where like, honestly, a lot of people shy away from the national brands sometimes of locations. But I could see it like 5 where you feel like 5 or 6 where you feel really immersed in the community. You're growing. You're still doing more here. But at that point, you would feel comfortable to branch off and be somewhere, obviously not across the country, but like somewhere.
Yeah. Try and take on a new area.
Right.
Yeah.
Somewhere, even like this is not a hint. We don't have any plans for this, so don't get anybody excited. But like a Weatherford store. Yeah. Like a store that's an hour plus away. Yeah. Something like that. You know what I mean? I think like you could do that, or like obviously there's Tulsa. That's always like a hot button one for a lot of people. But there's a lot of Oklahoma, and there's a lot of places outside of Oklahoma.
We were going to like take on Dallas. Like that's a bigger market than we're currently in.
Right.
Like we were going to, try and, go open down in Dallas. Yeah. I like the phrase that you use, a large competitor proof.
Yeah. Like I think you have to be there. Yeah. You have to you got to build your walls up tall enough that like nobody's invading your castle. Yeah. And then you can worry about going off and can
you still continue to grow without giving 100% attention to, or all of your efforts, all of your resources to, can you pull some of your resources to go to another area?
Well, and that's why I think you have to be at a point of being like 6 stores where it's like, at 6 stores, we have more people focused on Oklahoma City than we have employed right now. Yeah. By a long shot, probably. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like we're probably double the staff we are because you're maybe you're not giving, or I'm not giving as much, but opportunities for people who are up and coming who can step into those roles and give 100% of their effort to continue to grow Oklahoma City.
What's our total resources look like?
Right, exactly.
I feel like I'd probably say 6. I feel like I'd feel comfortable. Yeah, like that's 1 to 2 stores away from our total, what we think is max. I think another good point to that as well, it's like how much the city's growing is like 7 to 8 now. Yeah, but like as it grows,
who knows?
We trying to put one in Blanchard. We trying to put one in Guthrie.
Right.
So,
dude, I mean, like,
is Weatherford just part of the metro?
Look how much more has grown. That
might be crazy, but
but look how much more has grown in like over by like Early Wine. Yeah, like there's a ton of stuff over there now, and it's like, dude, you can make an argument that they could have a store.
Yeah.
It's not that far from the Norman store, but
yeah. That's I think it's as we continue to improve our systems, I think we've really got most of our systems down at one location. I think we proved that with 2 locations. But I think we're continuing to have to set more systems in place as there's more layers, there needs to be more structure. So I think as long as we can continue to I think there's probably a lot of structure building, a lot of system building right now with especially you stepping into the role that you're in, where it's like, dude, you and I are meeting on a weekly basis of what are your responsibilities? And your role is a note on my phone. So right now, which will become a lot more robust as we move forward. And it's like, could we duplicate this and put Thomas 3 locations and everything else associated with that in another market?
Right.
Could we do that? I don't know if I'd feel super comfortable with that with where we're at now, but maybe at, like you said, like at 6 locations, like we have more structure, we have more replicatable systems.
When you see how places just grow out, you look at like S2 in like the St. Louis area. They're very concentrated in this S2, like in the St. Louis area. And then they've like continued to just grow out and out and out and out and out and out and out. And then it's like, you know, they're not us just randomly showing up in Dallas one day.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they've done a lot already. People know who they are to some extent. Like regionally, I think a lot of that can be easier.
Yeah. It's close proximity.
Yeah.
All right. I think we've been at this for a couple hours already, actually.
I know, we're almost done.
This has been a fun one.
This has been a lot of fun.
Man, I got a few more I'd like to ask, but we'll stick to this one since it'll be a good question. Question is from Grant. How do you say Grant's last name? Schamberg. Okay, I didn't want to guess. Next store location.
He would love if I said Weatherford. That's where he lives.
Is that why he's asking?
Yeah. Yeah, that is a good question.
Yeah. Take it away, Thomas. I'll at least kind of take a little bit of the lead here. I think there's something to be said too for the people that listen to the podcast that maybe they get to know a little bit more information.
A little inside.
Yeah, a little inside information that not everybody else gets to know if you just follow us on Instagram. So shout out to you guys for listening. I'll give you a little bit extra information.
That's right.
We do have a fully executed lease on a 4th location.
Say what?
That just happened the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So that was cool to kind of celebrate that a little bit.
Yeah.
But unfortunately not Weatherford. I don't know that we're at a point where we can do quite a satellite location like that. I've had a number of people recommend Weatherford.
I know.
So
I just don't know if we have any, like, it's just too, like, but you got to drive the transfer.
Dude, I mean, that is just one of 100 different things that would have to be figured out with something that's like further away.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we I don't know if we want to say that where it's going or not.
I think again, like there's this, like we have to be careful because there's an expectation that these things happen quickly.
That's true. So we'll preface with this at least first. We may or may not give the location. We'll preface with this first. The lease was just signed as of today, as I'm talking, or maybe as this podcast is released. The lease was just fully executed a week and a half ago, which for those that don't mean, that means we signed it and the landlord signed it, which means that it's done deal, legally binding both ways.
Right. But it don't look like a triad.
Yet. Right now, there's some leftover tile.
There's a chandelier.
There's chandeliers. Everybody's going to be going and searching for for vacant locations with chandeliers in it. There's chandeliers in it. Black ceiling tiles. So
one of the windows is blacked out.
So there's a lot of demo to be done. Luckily we worked out where the landlord's actually gonna cover pretty much all of that for us, which is really, really cool because landlords didn't want to provide or negotiate at all with us when we were first starting.
Yeah. Right.
But A lot of demo that has to be done from the landlord's part of things, and that is legitimately just to get it to be concrete floors and white walls. Then we have to come in. Luckily, we'll be working with someone this time to do some of this for us instead of us doing all of it. As long as it doesn't come back as too expensive. Then otherwise, honestly, it might
late nights laying floor again,
dude. It might be just me laying flooring. I don't think
Alyssa's vetoed herself.
Yeah, which is like that's fair.
Yeah, so, we've done it a couple times.
Yeah, dude. If I gotta do it, I'll fucking do it. But that is the plan, is to hire a general contractor. But we have to come in and we have to build more walls. We have to lay flooring. We have to put shelving in. We have to order product. We have to order POS systems. We have to order custom desks. We have to order all the fixtures. We have to get security systems. We have to get TVs. We have to, and that's just all the things that popped up on the top of my head. So, new locations have taken, from the point of them being white walled, have taken up to 3 months, and we're not even at that point yet. So keep in mind that is we are at least, I would say, at least three months away from this. We could be 6 months away from opening a new location. But then the cool part is we can talk about it now because it is inevitable. It will happen, unless someone breaks a contract, which we aren't doing that. We're not breaking a lease. So, if the landlord does, then I guess we'll just find another one, because we got the funding, we got everything set in place to move forward. So, we will be opening a new location.
Crazy. Stofo.
Dude, you texted me that earlier today, actually, and I thought it was slang that I didn't get it.
It was like
STOW.
Stofo.
Dude, I really didn't know what you meant.
Stofo.
So
Stofo. Up on the east side.
We will. You're giving away a little bit there.
Oh, you didn't have to say that.
Oops. Dude, I feel you never feel like you got enough time for new shit like this.
No.
Like, never at any new locations, I've never been like, yeah, I've got like 20 extra hours a week I can dedicate to this.
No.
But you just do it, and you find time, and you prioritize.
Yeah.
And
a little shift to here, a little shift to there.
We're in that lull right now. Sometimes we hit it, sometimes we don't. If we got to do our own demo, we got to hit the ground running as quickly as possible.
Yes, sir.
Luckily, we don't have to do our own demo this time. And we get that nice little lull period where we're just waiting on the landlord to get that done, hopefully sooner than later. And and then as soon as they turn the keys over, I got a meeting on Wednesday, actually, to maybe kind of get some timelines and some more official stuff. Some line times.
It's almost 9:00.
Yeah. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Episode Christmas.
Episode Christmas. Yep.
That's all right.
58.
58.
Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.